Okay, for this simple C source code compiled with no optimization, we get this assembly. And we talked about what each of these assembly instructions do, but what I want to do now is walk through the code with you in slow motion, as it were, in my amazing slideware debugger. So we're going to cover this in slides one single step at a time before we go off and look at it in a real debugger, GDB. So in my slideware debugger, we've got our registers up here, and you can see that the initial values are all in green with this cloverleaf symbol. That's the way that I'm going to denote a starting value, where the code, imagine the debugger has stopped right here and it has not yet executed this first assembly instruction. Once we execute it, we will show it in blue and we'll put a little X symbol. But for now, we're stopped. We're about to execute this because the program counter is all fives 628, saying that this all fives 628 is the next assembly instruction to execute. But we haven't executed it yet, and therefore these are the current values of registers. This is the current value of the stack. The stack pointer has a value of 7Fs and 920, and there is a value. Remember, the stack pointer points at the last place where there is used data on the stack. But this data necessarily, because we haven't executed any single instruction from main, this data must have come from the function that called main. So we hand wave over it, but just in general, there is a function that calls into main, and when you return from main, you return back to that function. So we don't really care what this value is. It's just some other data from some other code, not our code, not our concern. And then I do want to remind you that anything below the stack pointer in terms of lower addresses, remember high addresses high, low addresses low, so lower addresses are undefined. So there is technically data there, it is filled in with real values, but we should just treat it and think of it as if it's undefined. Okay, so let's get to stepping. We execute the first assembly instruction, add I SP SP -16. So it is an add instruction, but the immediate in a add instruction, the immediate 12, can have a positive or a negative value, and that value is sign extended. So this is adding -16 to the stack pointer. So the net result of that is that the stack pointer will move down by hex 10. It was 920, it moves down to hex 10. And we denote that here with the red value, showing that this assembly instruction, which was just executed, led to the following modified values. So in red with a little M symbol here is indicating that only the stack pointer assembly instruction was modified here. And of course, the program counter will be modified every single time because every single step is going to change what the next assembly instruction that should execute is. So after the stack pointer moves down, these values are no longer undefined. We're going to call them uninitialized. So they are at higher addresses, so they're above where the stack pointer points, but we have not seen any code that actually initialized those values. Nothing has been written there yet, so they're not undefined, but they are uninitialized. Okay, let's execute the next instruction. This is a store double word, store D word, and stores are the exception to the rule that most things read from right to left. Stores read from left to right. And the S0 is the thing that is being stored to memory. We see parentheses, and parentheses means that something's going to be used as a memory address and written there or read from memory. So parentheses stack pointer, so the stack pointer value is 7Fs 910. So stack pointer plus 8, and this is basically just GNU syntax or AT&T syntax, sort of a holdover from the days where AT&T Bell Labs invented C and other various things. But anyways, parentheses, inside element is the stack pointer, outside element is the immediate that's going to be added to it. And the net result is stack pointer plus 8, go to memory at that address and store the value of S0. So stack pointer 7Fs 910 plus 8, that brings us up to 7Fs 918, and store the value from S0, which is also known as the frame pointer. So store the value from S0, which is 7Fs AA8, store that value to this memory address. So whatever we calculated with the SP plus 8, treat that as memory, and that is stack memory, store the value from S0 there. So that has led to the modification of this memory location, and the PC is moved again, but no other changes, no other register changes elsewhere through this code. Okay, next instruction. Execute the add I S0 SP16. So this is going to take stack pointer plus decimal 16 and put the result into the S0 register. So we said S0 is our frame pointer. So the frame pointer was pointing somewhere way up high, the 7Fs AA8, and this was our saved copy of that. But now, as a consequence of this assembly instruction, the frame pointer is going to be moved down, and it will now hold the value of stack pointer, which is 7Fs 910, plus 16, or hex 10, and so we get 7Fs 920. That is the new value for the frame pointer. So the old frame pointer gets set here, and the new frame pointer gets set sort of just outside of the frame for the main function. Okay, now the next assembly instruction. li. The li is a lie, it's actually add I, but it is easier to read an li. Just load the immediate 65 into A5. So this leads to the change of the A5 register, and it gets the hex 41, the decimal 65, which is exactly what JustReturn just returns. It returns hex 41. So we have to see a hex 41 at some point. So that modifies the register, and the program counter, of course, moves down once again. The next instruction to execute will be the 632. Okay, the next assembly instruction to execute is the move from A5 into A0. So the value inside the A5 register moves to the A0 register. So the hex 41 getting moved into the A0 register. And why is that? Well, that's because the ABI calling convention says that A0 is where you're going to return values out from functions. So since JustReturn just returns hex 41, before it returns, the A0 should be holding hex 41. And that's exactly what the move accomplishes. And since that's the only real thing that JustReturn is doing, we're basically now into the function epilogue. We're going to start exiting out of this function. So execute the next assembly instruction, and what do? We load a dword from memory at the address stack pointer plus 8, treat it as a memory address, pull a dword out of that memory address, and put it into S0. So stack pointer still points here at 7Fs 910, add 8, and pull a value out of memory from that address, 7Fs AA8, and place that into the S0 register. So now S0 gets 7Fs AA8. And so functionally, that means that the frame pointer goes way back up to wherever it was pointing when we came into main. Okay, next instruction, add I, SP 16. So stack pointer points right here right now at 7Fs 910, but we're going to add 16 to that and place it back into the SP register. So SP moves up by hex 10. And we said that anything below SP is undefined. So now we're going to say, oh, we don't know what those values are. We never knew what those values were. We're just going to be unconcerned. Now, in reality, they do totally still hold the actual literal value of 7FFFAA8. And if you take the OST2 vulnerabilities class, you will learn about how attackers abuse this fact in order to find bugs in uninitialized data access code that accesses data that it shouldn't, that is supposed to be treated as uninitialized or undefined. But for now, focusing just on the RISC-V, we know that stack pointer moved up, and we are just about to exit out of the function. Return was actually a compressed JR, and compressed JR was really a JR, and JR was a jump register, and jump register was actually a JALR, a jump and link register. But all the ret is really doing is it's just setting the program counter to the RA for return address register. So RA had some initial value, and it actually seems to still have that green with cloverleaf. So this never changed throughout the entire execution of the code. And that's basically what we would expect. JustReturn doesn't call any other functions, so whatever call to main calls into main, and it set a return address so that it could main could return back out to it when it's done, and therefore the return address just is used to return back to main. So this ret is really just setting the PC back to RA, and therefore the PC is now going to change to that, and it will pick up execution from there in the function that called main. So that was our slow motion debugging in slides of JustReturn.c. We will look at it in GDB debugger in a coming video.